Hey everyone, welcome to Inside Indiana Overtime. John Bauerfeind, Alex McCarthy, here at Assembly Hall where we just watched Indiana hang on to beat Michigan. To beat Michigan 70-67 in a typical IU Michigan basketball game where it was exciting. There were plenty of highlights, plenty of excitement from the sellout crowd here, and it came down literally to the last second of the game, the last shot of the game, where Muhammad Ali Abdul Rahman, or Mar, M-A-A-R, as some have shortened it on Twitter, couldn't connect on a pretty wide open corner three, Michigan's last possession, which would have obviously tied the game. But Indiana escapes, and that's its 7th win in Big Ten play. They're 7-4, and depending on what happens.
Barring an incredible Maryland comeback, they'll be tied for 2nd place in the Big Ten, going to Maryland Wednesday night.
Yeah. So it's again kind of an unexpected turn for Indiana, where the expectations were a little low going into the season, but tied for 2nd, more than halfway through the Big Ten season. So I don't know. They've been able to do it in a variety of ways. Tonight, Troy Williams was key to Indiana's win. I mean, I guess James Blackman in the first half was really able to kind of fuel them and get them going. But throughout the whole game.
And Yogi as well in the
course.
second half, I should say. But, yeah, I mean, you wrote about Troy. 20 points, 8 rebounds, had a great game.
Yeah, and he, from the opening possession of the game where he had a putback on one of Blackman's misses, he was getting people on their feet. He was kind of supplying the fireworks, if you will. But he, the first half he was a little bit on and off. He had 4 turnovers and a couple really, really ugly ones. But then in the second half, he was able to kind of get into a rhythm, didn't turn the ball over a single time, which is almost more significant than the 14 points he scored in the second half. But still, I mean, huge contribution from him. He was 6 for 9 from the floor, wasn't taking stupid shots. There was, the possession that kind of turned it around for him was he got a steal and was driving down the court, and instead of trying to challenge a guy, trying to attack the rim or whatever, he noticed that Rob Johnson was trailing right behind him. So he stops, turns, dishes to Johnson. Johnson hits a 3, and that extended Indiana's lead to 11 points, which was the largest at the time. But Williams was kind of able to lead Indiana in that second half. But his counterpart, Zak Irvin, also had a huge second half for Michigan.
Yeah, Troy had 14 points in the second half for his 20 total points. Zak Irvin had finished with 23 points, at 18 in the second half. And to me, at least, it looked like those two guys were really the only players out there. Not that anybody else wasn't playing bad, but those guys really had great second halves. IU was up as many as 11 several times in the second half, but couldn't really pull away, in large part due to Zak Irvin, who shot the ball 13 times for Michigan in the second half. At one point had taken more than half of his shots, I believe 11 of 20 with like 7 minutes left or so. And Irvin and his counterpart, or not his counterpart, but former HSC star Gary Harris, now have played 4 total games in Assembly Hall and combined for 77 points. For whatever reason, it seems like these guys from Hamilton Southeastern have a personal, not a vendetta so much, but a goal to shut up the fans in Assembly Hall, perhaps. I remember Gary Harris beating his chest after a dunk last year when he dropped 26 on the Hoosiers just after New Year's. But it wasn't enough. In the end, like you said earlier, John Beilein said after the game that Michigan wanted to get Irvin the last shot, but couldn't. He was guarded by Rob Johnson, and he was all in Irvin's face. Farrell helped off the side, too, and they ended up finding Abdur, Mar, whatever you want to call him, open for a 3, but he couldn't make it, and IU wins again.
Yeah, and this, like we said, ties it for 2nd place. They're going to Maryland in a couple days. Obviously, they beat Maryland here by 19, 3 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah.
And that was maybe a little bit of an outlier because IU shot like 60% and everything was falling for them. But Maryland, quite frankly, doesn't look that good, right? I mean, really, since that loss to IU, they have not looked exactly, the same that they had in Big Ten play prior to that. So Indiana's gonna head over to College Park and see what they can do. Wednesday at 9, you said?
Wednesday at 9.
So that should be an interesting one, certainly, and one that's really important for a chance to be in sole possession of 2nd place in the Big Ten.
Exactly. We forgot to mention that Hunter Mascara-Pere did play today, albeit just 4 minutes. I think his only stat was 1 rebound in the second half. But his progress is definitely something to look forward to. And though IU did beat Maryland by 19 without him. You saw what's kind of been happening recently without Mascara Perea, defensively wise.
Right.
And
Guys,
today was
yeah.
pretty much the same story.
Yeah, guys just being able to
Ricky Doyle
find ways in the paint. Yeah.
He made all 5 of his shots, had
Yeah.
15 points.
Yeah, and a Michigan beat writer said at halftime that he doesn't remember a time this season where, and at halftime, I think the leading scorers were like Doyle and someone else, some other forward.
Donnell.
Okay, Donnell.
Tied for the lead, yeah.
Yeah, and the Michigan beat writer said he can't remember a time that happened for Michigan this year. So that's kind of what Indiana's been dealing with without a rim protector, without a true, real long, tall guy on defense. But we'll see if Hunter can contribute a little bit more Wednesday. We're not going to be there, obviously, but we'll be covering it. We'll be watching it, taking it in, everything like that. So once again, Indiana 70, Michigan 67, and we'll, I guess, see you Wednesday.